I wanted to thank everyone who attended episode 1 as well. That episode is up on YouTube.
So for everyone that did join the first one, we did go over a little bit over what we'd be talking about with this one, which is obviously the reports and dashboards and custom insights. This is something that looks tricky when you first look at it and can be a bit overwhelming, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to navigate it. Essentially, what we'll be going over today is creating insights and dashboards, looking at the different types of insights you can create and configure. Is the easy way of doing it, which there are pre-configured options essentially, and then you can get quite deep into it in terms of what exactly you do want to look at. Everyone is obviously different, so the reports that you build will be obviously unique to yourself. The ones that we do show you today, we've created a way where we can share a link similar to the forms. So if we show you an insight today that you do want to use, let us know and we can show you the link so you can just paste it into your browser and duplicate it yourself so you don't have to set it up at all. We'll be going over dashboards as well, so creating dashboards, adding the insights to it, and then assigning it as your homepage as well. Many people don't know about the ability to be able to do that. So the custom or the set dashboard that everyone currently has, that can actually be changed to a custom dashboard that you make. If the current dashboard that you see on your home screen isn't enough and you want to see more stuff, essentially, you'll be able to create a dashboard and set it as your homepage as well, which we'll walk through. Let me just switch my tab over here. Hopefully you can all see the Imploy now.
Yes, it's come through.
Beautiful. Just keep in mind, this is a premium feature. So if anyone is on the free account, they will have to require having a premium account for it. So when we first come into the reports tab here, we're going to have an activity page. This is just essentially going to be all of our recent insights and dashboards that we've created. But the left-hand side sidebar here is where everything is going to live. So it's split up into 3 sections: spaces, dashboards, and insights. Dashboards and insights are ones that we've created, but we haven't organized them essentially. So if we have these dashboards here, for an example, that we've created, we can keep them here for as long as we need. What we can actually do is create a space and create folders inside of it so we can organize it a bit better. So like what you see on my sidebar here, I've done it into finances, services, incidents, and budgets. And inside each of these spaces, I've then created subfolders, and then you can move the dashboards and insights into these folders. So if you're building ones for specific things like audit, for example, you'll be able to keep everything in one spot so you know where everything is. Spaces, these can all be moved and configured and renamed, just like the pin sidebars that we have. When it actually comes to creating one, there's a few ways to be able to do it, and we'll start with the insights first. So in the sidebar here, there is a plus button. At the top here as well, there's a plus button with a drop down. And on this home section here, or activity, there's also a drop down to be able to create it. Once we click create new insight, this is automatically going to create the insight for us, so we don't have to save it or create it. Once we add it, it's automatically created for us, so we can start making any edits that we do need. Now, when we first create one, it's going to be a blank page here, and it's going to tell us to configure the metric that we do want. On the right-hand side sidebar here, this is where everything is going to be done. The first thing, before you do anything, you can click around, but it's not going to do anything. We have to essentially select a data source. So what that essentially means is we're picking what we want this screen to show us. On the data source here, when we click on it, this is going to give us a list of every single option. Now, there's over 500 different options that we can choose from. So majority of the time, it is there if you are needing to look at something essentially. The way that it works, and we'll start with a very simple one like clients. Once we open clients, we have some subcategories here like records, care plans, budgets, and tasks. If we open up records again, we then have a lot more options to be able to choose from. And this is the key thing here, depending on what we choose. If we just want to see a very simple metric, like the number of clients that we have, you'll see here that there's an overview option with a little metric icon. And you'll notice that on every single one. At the top of each one, there's always an overview option. And what this means is once we click it, this is going to give us a count, essentially. So if we want to see all of the clients that we have, we just simply come in, click overview, and this is going to give us a count record here. What the options below it does is allows us to then use the other options here, like bar chart, line chart, map, etc. But this here is going to be our simplest way to be able to see something. So if we want to, for an example, we want to see all the client records and we want to see it only by active, for example, we'll be able to come into the format section here and select a filter that say status. And we can say status is active, and then that will show us all the active clients. These are only active themselves, able to essentially filter it down by what we do need. Most of the time you won't need this filter because everything is configured from the data source and the metric and value format itself. So what the metric is, these are essentially what the single metric here is going to display. So if we open it up at the minute, this one has count and it has sum. So it's a very simple one for the client records themselves. If we come into a invoices, for an example, we're going to have a few more options like the average, the sum, the minimum, maximum sum paid. So depending on the data source itself, it's going to show different options for it. Once we have this single metric selected, we've chosen the metric, we can choose to change the value format. So what this is essentially what this digit is displaying. So it's auto by default, but if the system doesn't pick it up automatically, and this is supposed to be currency, for an example, this is where we'll be able to configure that, turn it to hours, things like that as well. For the single metric, there's two more options that we have, which is formula mode and conditional formatting. Most of the time you won't need the formula mode because this can get quite complex, but the conditional formatting is quite useful. We'll walk through the formula mode as well. So once this is toggled on, what this allows us to do is essentially add a sum to it. So I'll show you a very basic one. So if we have the client count of 47 and for some reason we want to times it by 100, for an example, this will allow us to add those formulas to it to give us a different result for it. There's a few different options here like multiply, divide, subtract, things like that as well. In here, this will be the option to choose the raw value or the times 100, which is a preset for it. But the main thing down here is the conditional formatting. So what this allows us to do is essentially set goals for this metric itself. And this will make a lot more sense when we get to the dashboards, and I'll show you how to configure it here. So let's say, for an example, once we add a conditional formatting, we'll be able to set what is going to turn this counter red or a color of our choice, depending on when it hits a certain threshold. So this would make more sense, for an example, with incidents. So if we want to see the total amount of incidents, but we want to say we want this counter to turn red once it hits a threshold of 50. As soon as this hits 50, it's then going to show us a red count, and this can change depending on the color that you do choose. The key or the benefit of this is if you have a large dashboard with lots of metrics, this will allow you to easily spot the number that you set or the threshold that you set. You can do it for greater and less than, things like that as well. Do I have one on here? So like this, for an example, if we have an incidents dashboard, up here is going to show an indicator if any of these thresholds have been met. And we can see this one down here as well, total incidents. So this will give us why it has triggered the conditional formatting to trigger. So the metric is greater than 0, which is a very simple one. But like I said, if you have a large dashboard, it's an easy way to be able to spot what is above or below, things like that as well. So once all of this is set, it's pretty much done in terms of setting up the single metrics if we just want to see a very simple count. From here, we can rename it, add a description. So if it's on a dashboard, it's easy to know what this report is about. And from here, we can also, which is a key thing, protect the insights. What this will do is this won't allow us to edit it, delete it, things like that. Once it's protected, we'll have to come back in and toggle it back off. Across all of the visualizations, excluding the map, there's always going to be a floating bar down here, which will do two things: allow us to view the calculations, any that we have set, as well as view the contributing data. With the single metrics, we can actually click on the number to open this, which will be the same as clicking down here. This is essentially going to show us everything that this has gotten, how it's gotten the number that it's displaying for us. We're also able to export this if needed. So if you are creating a report, whether it be table, things like that, you are able to export what you filtered, what you've chosen as a data source itself. What we'll do is we'll go to a bit more, not complex, but being able to see a bit more with it. So I'll create a new one. And what we'll do is we'll go over appointments. So let's say, for example, we want to see for the last 7 days, we want to see all of the service hours by day split up by appointment type, for an example. So how that's going to work is we're going to come into the data source options here, into appointments, and whether it be client or site appointments. If we scroll down, we'll actually see an option for day, week, and month. What this is going to do is for the bar charts, area, line, things like that, clicking the date, brackets day. So what I've done with this report here is inside the data source, inside of appointments, I've come in and I've selected the date in brackets day. So what I'm creating is a report that shows us the last 7 days of appointments. And this is going to show us essentially the count broken down per day or visualized per day. From here is where we'll be able to make more adjustments to it. If we're wanting to see for the last 7 days, the number of service hours per day broken down by appointment type, what we'll be able to do is in the format section in breakdown by, we'll be able to select appointment type, which you can see here now the chart has kept the per day basis, but each day is now split into the appointment types that were delivered that day. From here, if we wanted to see just the count of them, we can keep it as count. Let's say we wanted to see the sum of service hours on a per day basis broken down by appointment types. That's then going to give us this visualization here. By default, the bar values for each bar chart is turned off. Well, with this toggled on, this will give us a clear indication of the total count per day, for an example, for these appointment types. This that I'm showing you is just appointments, but these configurations work across any data source, any types. So this isn't just on a week basis, for an example. Depending on the actual data source itself, if it's appointments, it's going to give us the date formats to configure. But if it's like clients or invoices, we're not going to have this 7 days, 1 month, for an example. From here, what we can also do is set a target. So if we have a large dashboard and we have many metrics on it, many charts, and we want to be able to quickly come in and see the goals that we've set, we can come in and set a target. So for this example, I've set 5.5 service hours. We'll be able to visualize which days have met that target and which days haven't. On the layout section here, most of the time you won't need to adjust this. This is just if you do want to see certain things, but this will allow you to toggle on and off the axis titles, which are these ones down here, labels as well as show the bar values, which I just toggled on. And a key thing as well, if you don't want to see empty or zeros or not set, be able to toggle these off. So it'll just show you the results for values that have got a, for this example, value higher than 0. What I was then creating is, let me delete this one and start again. What a lot of people ask is the ability to be able to see appointments that haven't been clocked into, haven't been clocked out, and a lot of the statuses around that. The current dashboard that we do offer gives a breakdown of that, but obviously it's configured to set options. So this here that I'm about to show you will allow you to create your own. So what we're going to do is something very simple. We'll come into the data sources, into a client appointments and select overview. This is already set to the last 7 days. We can change this if needed. And in this metric section here, there's already going to be the option for us to select sum of not clocked in or sum of not clocked out, for an example. So once we click this, this has now given us the count of the number of appointments in the last 7 days that haven't been clocked out of. Now, depending on what we actually filter in out by, the metric isn't going to adjust this result here for single metrics, but it will for graphs and bars. So if we wanted to be able to easily see that, we can as well. There's a few different ways to be able to do it in terms of, I have one here. Not clocked out. Once we do filter it, it will then give us just those results there if we do want to see just them. Let's save this one. And what we can actually do with this one, let's say obviously we don't want any shifts to not be clocked out of. We can then toggle on the conditional formatting so that it's going to show us the indicator as soon as it hits that 1 or above. Beautiful. And everything is automatically saved. There is, however, the option to turn that off. So in the drop down for each insight, there will be the option to toggle off autosave changes. So if you want to come in, you have an insight that's already created, but you just want to mess around with a few things, you can toggle this off so that if any changes are made, it will show you the save button for it up here. What we'll do is how much time have we got? 15. I'll show you one more in terms of a table and a map view, just so you can get an idea of it. And a lot of this is already pre-configured for you. So we've worked hard to try and make it as easiest as possible with obviously the ability for freedom. A lot of these data sources, things like that, once you select it, most of the things have been configured in the back-end side of things. So if we wanted to see, for an example, let's come into staff documents, employees, documents. Let's go by staff member. And what we can actually do is we can choose a table view. So what I've chosen is the data source as documents and staff. So this is going to show us all of the staff members who have documents. And by default, you'll see that there's only 2 columns here. The way to change that is in the format section, there's an option for table columns. This will allow you to turn on or off. So if I select all, for example, what table columns you do want to see. So if you need a view of all the staff documents, if they've uploaded them, if they haven't uploaded them, if you've marked it as required in the staff compliance section, all of this will be able to be viewed from here. You'll be able to filter it down. You'll be able to adjust what you do want to see. There will also be the option to turn on show total show column totals, which will give us the option to add these down here. We've got 15. I'll quickly go through a map view as well. I wish I made this one an hour long. That's all right. One thing that a few people have noticed as well is the option for map. So what this allows us to do, and most of the time you will see it grayed out, you have to essentially select an address data source for this to be able to work. So let's say, for example, we wanted to see a map view of all of the clients or all of the staff members, for an example. We'll be able to select address as the data source. We'll then be able to come in and select the map as well. So this is then going to give us the ability to see all of these. And what we can actually do is we can click on these, see the details of the client, address, phone number, type. We can view profile as well. You may have seen on the roster side of things, there is the option for a staff map. So depending on what you are looking for, if you're just needing to look for essentially an overview of all locations, this is going to be your best way. But the actual roster itself, which a lot of people still haven't, we might have to do a video on that. A lot of people still haven't seen the map option. This will give you the option to be able to calculate the travel and radius, for an example. I'll give you a very quick view. So if we have a client here, George Dean, and we wanted to add a radius of, let's say, 5 kilometers, this is going to give us all of these staff members or clients. We can filter it down within that radius area, and the travel will allow us to calculate those travels. So let's say Alex to Bonnie. This will give us the kilometers and time as well. So this has been put on the view option inside of the roster itself. The report section here, this is going to give us the ability to be able to see those, but it doesn't have the option for the calculations. What I'll do now is we'll create a dashboard. The way to be able to do that is we can do it from here, or we can do it from the drop down itself. Same thing with the insights. Once we create it, it's automatically created, so you don't have to manually create or save. And once we come onto here, this is going to give us the blank dashboard that we have. The way the dashboards work is we can add any insight that we have created into the dashboard, and insights like staff document status can be a part of multiple dashboards if needed. So if you have a dashboard for one thing and another, you can have that same insight on both of them. There's 2 ways to add an insight, either if you've got a blank canvas through here or up here, which is going to give you the option to search and filter. Or we've just added is the ability to drag these onto the canvas itself. So if we have have I done it for this one? Yeah. So if we know where the insight is or the report, for example, we can just very easily quickly come in and drag it on, and then we can resize it to our liking if needed. We can add as many insights as we need to the dashboards, and every insight that we have has the ability to resize it. If we have document status, I have more here. Let's say we'll add a count. Not going to be the prettiest one, but I'll give you a good idea of it. I already have that one. It's not enough. So once we have the dashboard created, we've added all the insights to it. There's a few different options that we can do with this. One, we can name it, which makes it easier if we do have many. And what we can actually do is set a refresh interval. So by default, this is turned off, but every time that you come to the report, it is going to automatically refresh that data. But if we are staying on this dashboard, for example, if it's a presentation or we're showing someone for it, you can also set how often it's going to refresh while we're on this page, every 5 minutes, for example. In this drop down here, we also have the ability to turn off autosave changes if needed, as well as turn on auto layout and protect dashboard, just like what we saw with the Insight Builder. 2 main commonly used ones here are the set as home page and the pin to sidebar. So this set as home page, once we toggle it on, if we then come to our dashboard, we can now see that this has changed from the default one to the one that we've just created. This is per user basis. So if I set this as my dashboard, no one else can see it on my home page. So each admin, for example, would be able to come in and set the dashboard that they do need. So when they first log in and they're on the home tab here, they'll be able to see these inside of it. There is also the option to be able to duplicate and then delete from here as well. If we are needing to export the dashboard view itself, there'll be the option for image or CSV inside of this section here. We export as CSV for a dashboard, this is going to create a zip file for it. If we are wanting to just do the single metrics itself, you can click on the 3 dots of each single one, and there will be the option to export as PNG. If we are wanting the specific insight or chart data exported, it's best to come to the individual insight on here and click the export straight away, or do the contributing data and then export it as well. Main thing is, if you do have it set as dashboard, just turn on protect dashboard. Reason being, if you have it set as homepage and it isn't, it's very easy to come in and accidentally move it or drag it around. So there is the freedom to be able to do that when it is set as a homepage. If you don't want to accidentally do that or remove one, for an example, just come in and turn on protect dashboard. With the dashboards themselves, if an insight is deleted, it will still show the card, but it isn't going to show the metric itself. So it will be an indicator that it has been deleted. But as long as you are turning on protect dashboard, so no one can make any further edits, there isn't going to be any issues with that itself. Now we are working on the ability to assign these to certain users. So if we don't want them to have access to the report section, we'll be able to then come in and assign a dashboard to each specific user, for example, or user type, which make things a lot more easier. The best thing, to be honest, is coming in and going through each of these data sources. Obviously, don't read through each and every one, but just having a scan of what is available, what can be configured, etc. Once you start getting the hang of it, it does get pretty easy to be able to pick it up and see what can be done and what can't. Most of the time, you'll be using the bar charts anyway to come in and see client types, for an example, but most of your configuration will be done inside of the format section. Is there anything that I've missed? Chart total, copy configuration. Yeah. So moving forward as well, if there are any, I didn't get a chance to make many of them, but if there are any that you do want to for us to create for you, what we'll be doing is copying the configuration URL. So I'll do it for this one, for example. So if you say you're really struggling, for example, and you want us to create one like this for you, what we'll do is we'll create one and copy this configuration code. So once you paste it into your browser, like I've done here, it's automatically going to create it for you, and it's going to add it automatically into a space, and inside of these spaces will be the insights or the dashboards. So if there are any that you do want to see, just let us know, and we'll be able to create them for you, and then we'll be able to share these URLs with you. Same if you have other people that are needing to do it, anyone can come in and copy the code and share it with your friends, providers, things like that as well. We do have 5 or so minutes for any Q&A. Let me come back over to this one here. We do have a, when is it, July? Yeah, July 23rd, we do have episode 3, which is the Xero integrations, which will cover the timesheets, the invoicing, connection, and configuring it. So it will be, 90% of the people are using Xero. So if you are having any issues, things like that, it would definitely be worth joining the dedicated Xero one. But if there are any questions with these ones, I'm not sure if we've had any come through or not, Salem.
None yet.
No worries. Obviously, we'll be sharing these this video because we have recorded it. We'll be sharing this one with everyone, so that you'll be able to rewatch it and obviously go at your own pace if needed as well. If anyone is still struggling with it, obviously let us know. We can always jump into a call and help you with it, as well as this is why we've added the option to configure the URL. So it is a lot easier for us to now help you along with it as well. The best thing is just to go in and play around, see if you can see what you can configure with it, and then that'll be the easiest way to be able to pick it up. There are a lot more updates coming with it. We've left it for a little bit to see how people have responded to it, which has been really good actually, but we've just been waiting to make sure obviously the future updates that we do make will be the correct ones. So yeah, hopefully that has helped a few people out. And once this recording has finished and we've tidied it up, we'll share the link with everyone as well. Thank you, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one for the 0. We'll send out all the emails and invites for that one as well.